Welcome to episode 112. My special guest today will be Professor Tom DeBlass. Let's do it. Gracie Jiu Jitsu rocks. Welcome to the Gracie Jiu Jitsu Rocks podcast, a podcast dedicated to Gracie Jiu Jitsu and all things Gracie, including self-defense, competition, anti-bullying, women's self-defense and empowerment, nutrition, and most especially, the people involved in Gracie Jiu Jitsu. This podcast is for the average Joe. It's for anyone who practices, trains, teaches, or just loves to talk about or hear about Gracie Jiu Jitsu. We'll explore the lives of Gracie Jiu Jitsu practitioners, how they got involved in the art, and what effect it's had on their lives. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. All right, welcome to episode 112 of the Gracie Jiu Jitsu Rocks podcast. As always, I'm your host, Marty Josie, and thanks for listening. Let's start things off with our quote. Why do I beat a lot of people? Because I love it so much. That's why. Everything about jiu-jitsu, I love it. The school, the mat, the ring, I always believe that. Maybe I'm not better than my opponent, but I know for sure I love my training more. And that's from Marcelo Garcia. All right, Professor Tom DeBlass is a second-degree black belt under Ricardo Almeida, who's a fourth-degree black belt under Renzo Gracie. Tom is a highly respected competitor with impressive competitive runs in both Jiu-Jitsu and MMA. He owns and operates Ocean County Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy and has produced high-level athletes from a coaching stance, including Gary Tonin and many others. Some of his competitive victories include Black Belt World No-Gi Masters Absolute Champion, Black Belt No-Gi Pan American Champion, ADCC North American Champion, Fight to Win Pro Main Event winner, Ring of Combat Champion, six-time Grappler's Quest Expert Champion. He's also a UFC veteran and Bellator veteran. He's a member of the New Jersey Martial Arts Hall of Fame, and this just scratches the surface. Tom's done so many different things. What an incredible, accomplished human being he is. He also has a huge social media following due to his insight, his inspirational thoughts, and his tell it like it is philosophy. So I was really thrilled to be able to talk to Tom. We've been trying to make this happen for, a long time, probably more than 3 years. And he has so much going on, involved in so many things that it looked like it was going to work out, a few times. And then at the last minute, we couldn't. So finally, the stars aligned and we were able to get the interview done. So I know you're going to absolutely enjoy the interview. After the interview, make sure you stay tuned for the Make a Difference, Make an Impact segment. And now, without further ado, let's talk to Tom. All right, I'm speaking with Tom DeBlass, BJJ black belt and world-renowned competitor and instructor. So thanks, Tom, for taking time to be with me today.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
First of all, I want to say a big happy birthday. It's your birthday today.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
I'm really honored that you're spending a part of it with me and the listeners, so I really do appreciate that.
You're welcome. It's been I know we've been trying to get this nailed down for quite some time. I don't even do, the only other podcast I do is the Grappling Central. There's so many people that ask for podcasts, and I just don't have time,
Certainly. I know you got a lot going on for sure.
Yeah. But I'm glad we snuck this in because I felt bad because I know I said a long time ago that we would do it. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, good things come to those who wait. So, most people listening will, of course, know who you are. So we're not going to spend too much time going into your background, but I do want to start by having you talk a little bit about how you first started in martial arts and jiu-jitsu.
I was always a competitive kid, and I was actually in the track and field. I was much smaller. I was like 180 pounds. I was a jumper. I was really good. I long jumped like 23 feet, high jumped 6'5". I was in college for that, and then I had too many injuries. Believe it or not, I tore every ligament in my jumping ankle. Hence one of the reasons why it's very hard to heal like me, because my ligaments are all gone. But I found jiu-jitsu. It's like, oh, I was too beat up for track and field, so I found
Wow.
I found jiu-jitsu. It's a bit ironic, that I needed an easier sport, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's not really any compact, in jiu-jitsu. It's all like static. It's very static, strength. It's like pushing and pulling, and you're not beating up your joints in jiu-jitsu, so to speak. Like even when I hit pads like boxing and stuff, it hurts my joints. But jiu-jitsu never does. So, it was a little bit easier on my joints and my body. And I always liked to fight. I was an aggressive kid, but I would never fight for no reason. But finding jiu-jitsu, I was like 20 years old, and it just fit. Like I was like kind of into like not pure jiu-jitsu, like MMA / jiu-jitsu. Like I was looking to be an MMA fighter, I think. And but jiu-jitsu was like the one constant that I stuck with throughout the years. I couldn't get away from it.
And where did you first start that journey?
I started at a local place near me. First, I was training for probably I don't know, 8 months or so at this place called Tong Dragon. It's like it's very close to me. Good guys, nice guys. And I actually did like a fight when I was with them. I didn't know anything. Like I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was. Like I didn't know anything. Like put it this way, I was put in that fight, literally got my ass whooped. And then I won like a novice division like 3 months after that. Like I was a pure white belt,
That's funny.
But, it's learning. I'm sure they would not put somebody with my experience, well, the experience that I had then in a fight back then. But I was always a tough kid. Like I was a tough kid in the gym, so I mean, they just believed in me,
Right.
But I found Ricardo Almeida. I actually found Kurt Pellegrino after that. I just wanted to start training with some higher level guys that, compete. And I found Kurt Pellegrino, and he was training with Ricardo Almeida, and then Kurt left, and I stuck with Ricardo. So Ricardo actually belted me from blue belt to black belt. I was with him through all belts. I was just at the other place a short while. And then I did another amateur fight as like a purple belt, and I won. And then I stopped fighting MMA totally and just concentrated on jiu-jitsu. And then I won some pretty cool things in jiu-jitsu, and then I went back to MMA. And then I stopped competing in jiu-jitsu for like 3 years when I was focused on MMA. I didn't do any jiu-jitsu competition whatsoever. And then I stopped MMA and I went back to jiu-jitsu. And now here I am, not really wanting to compete in anything.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about that in a moment, but I want to get into some of the lessons you've learned through your life and how it's shaped your philosophy. So I want to do a few of your Facebook posts. Some of these people may recognize as recent, and some of them are from way back, because I started kind of this process of preparing for this a couple of years ago. Like you said, this kind of an ongoing thing. So the first post is, if you're a competitor under me and train like you're competing in a world championship with a middle-aged man that just worked 9 to 5, and even though you see him getting more and more tired, you continue to tap him repeatedly, I'm going to train with you immediately after the match is over. I will make you miserable and smother your face repeatedly. I hope you can take it just like you expected the non-competitor middle-aged man to take it. So this really speaks to your view on academy culture and how to treat people. So tell us more about that.
Well, here's the thing. Life is a constant progression. We're always maturing and we're becoming better. People, it's funny because sometimes people will that don't know me. I either have people that love me, they're like diehard Tom DeBlass fans, or people that hate me. And of course, me being me, I don't understand the hate, because my intentions are really good. My intentions are to help good people. Like I never would hurt an innocent person. But, I was an aggressive kid growing up, man. I came up tough. My life was not easy. Like I was fighting since day one, And people don't realize, like, a lot of people can say, "Oh, he's a fake nice guy," or "He's not humble," or this and that. And the thing is, I do love myself. I absolutely love myself, but I never love myself at the expense of putting someone else down. I want everybody to love themselves the way I love my own self. Like I'm happy with who I am. If I could be one person in the world, it would be me. I'm thankful for all I've done. I'm thankful for all my shortcomings. Everything has made me me. And when I wrote that, it was definitely, I have different, like, I don't want to say different personalities, but some days I'm super calm and some days I'm not. But when I'm not super calm, it's never directed at good, innocent people. Like if you get somebody who's on the mats training like a total jerk off with like a non-competitor, just your middle-aged guy who's just trying to better themselves, and they're just tapping them repeatedly and repeatedly, like that's common sense. You're not supposed to do that.
Right, right.
So that pisses me off, and that makes me want to aggress them.
Oh, I love it.
Now at 37, like who I am today, I would just pull them over to the side and I would talk to them. But the problem is people who don't feel it, like they don't know. So even some of the guys that are very close to me, I won't train with them for a while, and they start like putting themselves at like almost like a pedestal, like they start, because you haven't trained with them, they start thinking like maybe they could kick your ass or something. It's really crazy. And every once in a while, the lion must roar and remind people. And
Absolutely.
gotta let people know like who you are. And I've been on the mats with everybody, and I've been competing a very long time, and even in competitions out all these years of competing, no one has ever whooped my ass. Like I've never been like dominated to like a point to where I wasn't in the fight. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's never happened to me. Like I was caught twice. I was submitted 2 times over an 18-year career, and those 2 times were I guess I was caught, but I was never just like out skilled. I was never like taken down, mounted, like smothered, and just totally out of the fight. I was always in it, and I truly believe if it went to the death, if it was no time limit, I would find a way to win. Like I'm a pretty gritty dude. I believe my best days were on the training mat.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your philosophy on competing. One of your posts said, regardless if you win or lose in jiu-jitsu competition, your love for the martial arts should stay the same. Do not fall in love with winning. Fall in love with jiu-jitsu. And you also said,
the idiots are out there like, oh, Tom talks about being nice, but then he'll talk about smashing faces. Well, whose face am I smashing? I'm smashing the bully. I'm smashing the mean person. I'm smashing the bad person. Like, yeah, I'm not always 100% nice if you don't deserve the niceness.
certainly. No, one thing I admire about you, and I'm sure a lot of other people agree with this, you're very authentic, first of all. And, we all have different parts of our personality, but you can be strong. You can show, strength and even aggression at times if needed, but you also have can show sensitivity and compassion as a man and be okay with that. So I think that's a really great thing. You can flex to what needed. It doesn't mean you're one way or the other and that you're limited to being one way or another. There's different parts of our personality, and you flex to the occasion as you should.
I think that that's absolute truth. It's funny because last night there was a little boy. He was at my school. He was 2 years old. He was watching his dad train. And before I had a son, I always had this like misconception that like, boys are supposed to be treated tough. You know what I mean? And then I had my son, and I am the softest dad with him. It's so crazy, man. Like, there's two beings that I've never got mad at. And this is my children. Like I've never raised my voice at my kids. Like I'm a very, very patient father. I'm not patient with everybody, but I'm patient with my kids. And the little kid was crying, because his dad he walked in the locker room, and the boy couldn't, see his father. So probably me, maybe before I had my son, would have been a little less compassionate. Like, come on, man, it's okay. Like, I wouldn't be a jerk to him. I'd just be, come on, buddy, it's okay, toughen up. Like, don't worry, like boys don't cry. And now me today, like, I picked him up, I wiped his tears, I was like giving him hugs, and it's okay, man. Don't worry. Let's go find dad. Like, I understood his tears, and I think that's part of becoming more mature. We understand that
Yes.
it's okay to be compassionate. And, I went through a time in my life to where I was forced to be a certain way in order to survive. In order to make it through, I was forced to become somebody that maybe I'm not necessarily that person. Like, I'm a good person at heart. Like, as a little boy, I was a very, very nice little kid, man. Like, I had so much compassion. I was a good little boy. I was a sweet kid. And then life changes you. Life forces you to be hard. And I think right now I'm finding out that, I could still have that compassion that I had as a little boy, and still, have the respect and everything that I have now. But the irony in that is, if people didn't know who Tom was, most likely they would take my kindness for weakness. And that's unfortunate, because
Yeah,
now I can be totally kind and no one's going to think I'm weak. But
absolutely.
it's because I know who I am. They know what I'm capable of. They've seen the many different facets of Tom DeBlass, which you never know who you're going to get. You're going to, are you getting the happy Tom? Are you getting the nice Tom? Are you getting
Right.
the Tom that's ranting on Facebook? And, who the hell knows?
Right, right. No, it's all good. I think that, like you said, it comes with maturity. You're more comfortable kind of bringing what you need to bring. And going back to being a dad, that changed you for sure. I know when I became a dad, it was just like, my God, my whole world changed, and you experience, a kind of love like you've just never experienced before. It certainly changed you. And you said something on a post at one point that, like, dad is the only title that matters, or something to that effect. So, elaborate a little more. What does being a father mean to you? I know you have two beautiful kids. What does fatherhood mean to you?
So for me, it's like, I truly believe if I didn't have my kids, I probably wouldn't be alive. I would have found my way into some, bad situations, or maybe went a little too extreme in certain areas. And so my kids keep me grounded. My kids are the reason why I wake up every day and I work as hard as I do. My kids are truly my world. They're my everything. I I look at them, and it's like it's a purpose. They give you an entire different outlook on life again. You want to help
Mm,
them, overcome some of the same obstacles that you have. And it's tough because my kids will never see some of the things that I've seen. So the question is, like, how do we make them so tough without suffering? You
mm,
know, and I have little tricks and things that I do to keep them tough. For sure, they're very, very. I don't want to say they're spoiled. I think nowadays, I don't want to say nowadays kids are spoiled, because that's one thing. I think it's nowadays it's not easy being a kid. Like, all that's demanded on
right.
children regarding school, and then their social
It's
media.
true.
There's that. It's tough, but for sure it's not as like, let's be outside, get bloody and stay outside the rest of the day until the blood dries. It's not like that. You know, like
Right.
it's like we almost think that kids are breakable. Like I know I coddle my children like they're like they are breakable, but when in fact they're very resilient. Kids are
True.
very resilient. But I don't know, man. Being a dad for me is something I never get annoyed with. I never get tired of, no matter how exhausted I am. And my kids want to wrestle or play catch or do something, I'm gonna do it with them. Like, I'm gonna do my best for them. Uh, I do a lot of business on the phone. I don't work from a computer, and I deal with a lot. I deal with a lot every day. But sometimes my daughter will get pissed off. Put your phone down. I'm like, listen, my love, like, the fact you have this life that you have. You're 8 years old. You've been to Disney World 3 times. You've been to the Bahamas four times. You're always all over the country. Like, you're always on vacation. You're enjoying things you don't want for anything, and that's because I work hard. That's because you know I'm putting in the hours. I'm putting in the work. And there's always going to be sacrifice. I mean, the good thing is, I mean, when I'm home, I'm home. Like, when I'm home with my kids, I spend a ton of time with my kids. But you know, uh,
And
we
fully
try.
present.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sometimes, like I said, sometimes I have work to do, and it is what it is. Like it
Sure.
doesn't wait. I have 19 affiliates. I have people that rely on me, and it's just it's a way to find balance for everything, and it's not always easy, but it's always worth it.
Right on. Well, you've also spoke about your dad and the struggles that he had with alcohol addiction and how that impacted your life. Do you think that shaped your desire to be a certain way as a dad? I know that some of us, I mean, included, you tend to kind of compensate for things you didn't feel like you got the way you wanted it or enough of or whatever, and you kind of make sure to give that to your kids. Has that affected you in that way?
Yeah, for sure. Like my dad, struggled with drugs and alcohol, and he was always a very, very good man when he was sober. When he was not sober, he wasn't the best of humans. But he struggled. He has an addiction, and it's not something that I hold against him. It's not something that I could understand per se. I can never understand putting anything before my kids, but again, there's things I'm sure that I do that maybe one day my kids won't understand. I don't really know, but I definitely I find myself extra loving and caring because when I was my son's age, I mean, as much love as I got, I still saw some craziness, and that's good though because it made me who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't know me being who I am because I have a very addictive personality. If I didn't see my father like that, that could have been me, but I knew to stay away from it. Like I didn't have my first drink until I was 27 years old. I despised it because alcohol and drugs were the sole source of my pain.
Right.
It destroyed, it ripped our family apart. So I hated it. I almost created like the disdain I had for alcohol and drugs where it ran deep, man. If you're to the fact where if you were drunk around me and you acted like a fool, like you're in danger, because I was a hothead when I was younger, but I had a reason to be,
Sure.
like, but now I understand things differently and I look at things differently. And, I realize, excuse me, just because, my kids don't see that struggle with drugs and alcohol, they're at risk. They don't understand. Like, no matter what you say to somebody, oh man, it's dangerous out there. Or you don't understand these people are mean, or you don't understand drugs and alcohol, like what they could do to you. You don't get it unless you live it. Like,
So true.
people don't understand the evil in this world. That's why when people talk shit to me, I laugh. I'm like, man, if you just lived my life for 1 week with and not right now, but years ago, with some of the people that were close to me, like you would not run your mouth. You wouldn't as much as open your mouth. Like you just wouldn't talk because you if you ran your mouth, like the things that would happen to her, you don't even understand, And it's like I always say, you don't know what you don't know, Like I get respect from everyone. I know a lot of people in all aspects of life, and everybody that knows me personally respects me because I respect them,
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely is molded me as a father for what I see from my dad, and I try to. The older my kids get, the more I'll explain to them and I'll help them to understand. Right now, they're not at a capacity to really understand that, okay, Pop he struggled with these things called alcohol and drugs. They don't really get that. They're not at that level yet. They're very innocent,
Mm-hmm.
to where that's a good thing, but in a sense, it's a scary thing as well,
It's such a terrible, terrible disease, and a lot of people really, a lot of grown-ups don't understand the nature of it, and just most of us have seen the damage that it can do, but there's so much people don't understand about it, and it really ruins people's lives. Great people when they're under that, and yeah, it's tragic. But it sounds like you've learned a lot about it, and
Oh, I did. I learned a ton. I grew up fast. I was forced to grow up fast. So, people always have told me I'm wise beyond my years, and I am, and I was at a young age, and I just think just now, though, at 37, I'm truly, everything is coming together. I think that over the last year, I've grown a lot as a person, as an individual, and I'm just trying to be happy, man. That's it. I'm just trying to be calm. I'm not trying to argue.
Yeah.
The more I realize that people will never understand my point, is like the more I realize, like, what's it worth fighting for sometimes, like sometimes it's just like, I don't even got the energy to argue with a fool, like.
Well, you've arrived at a good place at a pretty young age, and what I mean by that is if you're secure in where you are, and you've learned that trying to please everybody out there is futile, right? So who cares what they think? You're going to live your life and be true to yourself. So that's great.
Well, that's the truth, because you truly can please the world no matter what you do. You could give somebody $1 million, and some people are still going to complain, but then
That's true.
if you it just some people are just never happy, and that's just what life comes down to, and you can't do anything about that to make them happy. You can only focus on yourself, do the best you could as an individual, and that's it.
Exactly. So let's do another one of your Facebook posts, and this one reads, Jiu-Jitsu friends around the world, I trained tonight. I didn't once think about winning or losing. I simply thought about improving position tonight. I thought about improving. I didn't count how many times I tapped my partner. I felt so grateful that I was healthy enough to be on the mats training and love it as much as I do, even as a black belt for nearly 9 years, which more at this point. Winning or losing didn't enter my mind. I hope your training was just as meaningful as mine was. So what a great mindset. Tom, do you feel like this perspective is the way to enjoy jiu-jitsu more and have more fun with it?
Yeah, I think so. And I train really hard with my competitors, but there's some people that I may have never really submitted at all when I train with them, and it's because I just don't submitting them or doing certain things to them will not benefit me. So I try to train with people to have the most meaningful training sessions possible. So if I'm training with a competitor and I know they're weak at leg locks, so like, getting to the legs and entering the legs will be good for they and I, but finishing at 20 leg locks in a row, it's not really good for anybody, because I mean, it's not helping me because I can't do it against guys who are well versed, and it's not helping them because they're not really understanding the entries, they're just understanding the tap. So I don't really care about who's tapping who in training. That's really not my. It doesn't matter. What I care about is having fun, and I train intense. There's some people listening to this podcast. Maybe they're students who I've had over the years, and they're like, "Yeah, right. Like this maniac is taught." Like I train really intense. Like I train. There's been some heated training sessions that I've had with people.
Right.
And for sure, like if I have a competitor that slaps me a little too hard, like I'm going back. And there's been training sessions to leave the mats and go on the floors and run into walls, and
Nice.
the bell rings and we don't stop. We just keep going. And I don't have that in me as much anymore. I don't really want to do that anymore. But most of my training sessions they're pretty friendly, man. They're more like, I don't want to say flow rolls, because for me a flow roll, I'm 430 pounds and I'm very athletic, so I'm strong. So it's easy for me to say, oh, it's a flow roll, when other people are fighting for their life. But I'm not looking to reverse somebody and mount them and just hold them down for an extended period of time. For what? You know what I mean? Like, who's that helping? I want everyone. One of my main training partners now is my 15-year-old student. Well, she's going to be 15 in June. Miranda. She's a little girl and she's tiny. And I train with her all. If I'm training with anybody, usually it's her, because we flow. I move. And I know how to just push her just enough to bring the best out of her, not break her, but at the same time, I get a sweat. I'm keeping my technique sharp, and that's it. I mean, jiu-jitsu, at the end of the day, if we're not happy, what are we doing?
Exactly. And we got to train to be able to last through our lifetime, right?
Exactly. That's the key. Be able to do this forever.
Exactly. So I'm a big fan of your training videos, and I'm sure a lot of people listening are as well. I have your half guard domination as well as some other things. Just well done on those. But wanted to, I know you've said something to the tune of most of the stuff, online training videos are a bunch of crap or something like that. Can you elaborate on that thought?
Yeah, you see a lot of people like, who are they? Like they've never competed or won at a high level. And not only that, they've never coached anyone to win at a high level, and they're putting together techniques that you never see work at a high level. So what are they? They're basically, you would compare them to like katas in karate, right? Or breaking bricks. It's cool. It looks cool, but is it really realistic? So I don't necessarily think it's bad. Like jiu-jitsu is beautiful, right? Like it's a beautiful thing. So to see the movements that people create and come up with, it's awesome. But I think it should be prefaced like, okay, this might not work at a high level. It just is supposed to look pretty. You know what I mean? Because, winning at a high level comes down to inches, centimeters, it's really about being perfect. And I think some of these things that we see are just so totally unrealistic, and it's fine, but just don't think you're going to practice these to go in and win, the ADCC trials. You're going to go win the Nogi World. It's just not going to happen. You're going to most likely end up getting put yourself in a horrible spot. But if you're looking at it as just like a flow and a warm up and just to, stay fit, like if you're looking at it the same way you would look at yoga, because it's the same effectiveness, to where yoga is great, right? But you're not gonna, if you're looking to fight, your sole training form is not going to be yoga. That'll be a supplement, right? So if you look at these things as like supplementary towards your jiu-jitsu, well, sure, but just don't drill some of the crazy things you see and think it's real.
Gotcha. So you're also obviously into fitness and health and fitness to a large degree. I know you're into intermittent fasting, so how long have you done that, Tom, and why do you feel like that's a good tool or a good route to go?
Man, it's been a while now that I've been doing it. And lately I've been slacking a little bit, but I still do it. Like I didn't eat anything yet today. I probably will try not to eat until let's say because I'm not even hungry right now, so I probably won't eat until 1 or 2 p.m. today. And it's just important, if you're constantly eating, your body's never resting. It's always working. That's the food. When you're not eating, your body kind of gets to settle and rest and recover. And you're actually at a fat burning state after you're not eating for 10 hours or something like that. And then you start burning some fat. I just feel that I can get away with eating a little less healthy if I'm fasting. Like if I eat like crap one day and then I fast longer the next day, it kind of all balances out. Everything. Because here's the thing, 3,500 calories is a pound. So if you increase your calories by 500 calories a day, at the end of the week, you're gaining a pound. If you decrease it by 500 calories a day, you're losing a pound. If you eat a ton of food at one period of time, but then you don't eat for an extended period of time, at the end of the week, everything equals, and that's kind of how I look at it. And I just want my body to have a time to rest. And I like to feel light. If I'm constantly eating, I feel heavy. I feel bloated, to where when I'm not, my body gets the time to recover and kind of rejuvenate the muscles. And I just feel better. And I just feel it keeps me leaner. I don't have a naturally lean body type. I'm a thick dude, so it's easy for me to have an off day and gain literally I can gain 10 pounds in a day. I really
I can relate to that.
I could eat pizza and drink soda and gain 10 pounds in one day. It's actually insane,
Yeah.
And it's such a damn joke about how much we can, eat so healthy, and it takes so long to look good, to where we eat bad one day and we're fat asses all over again.
Exactly. It's not right. But I agree with you completely on fasting. I've tried everything under the sun as far as trying to find, the thing. But the beauty of fasting is, for years we were taught the best thing to do is eat every few hours to keep your, blood sugar up and everything. But like you said, fasting, it gives your body a chance to recoup and rest, which it needs. And it also affects the hormones at a deep level. If you're eating something every few hours, your insulin is released constantly on a constant basis. And even if your calories weren't high, that constant release of insulin can have a crazy effect on your system. So I think it's just smart to kind of, the more I'm learning and experimenting with fasting and intermittent fasting, the more I'm becoming a huge fan of it.
Yeah, 100%. If you look at the lions in the jungle, right? Or the savannah, not the jungle, sorry. They might only eat once every 3 days, and they stay lean. They stay hungry. I also believe it keeps us more mentally sharp.
Oh, I agree.
I'm looking to do an extended fast soon for 3 days or something crazy. Just survive on liquids. I just need the right time to do it. But I hear it does some amazing things.
Yeah, I want to do that as well. I've done 24 hours several times, but I want to try at least a 3 day as well. What do you say to people that, I think a lot of people are scared of fasting because they've heard over the years that fasting will make you lose muscle mass? What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, it's who are we talking to right now? Are we talking to the people who are just dad bods? Then it's are you really worried about losing?
Right.
Did it really get any worse than it is for you? And I kind of use myself as an example. I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't lift more than 25 minutes a day, but I'm pretty strong, man. I'm pretty large. I'm not a small guy,
right. So
I can't say. And when I do eat, I'm not eating a ton of protein or anything like that. I'm just eating whatever I want. Yesterday, I ate man, what did I eat yesterday? I had tacos in the afternoon, and then I had tacos for dinner, and that's all I ate. And then I had a bag of Sour Patch Kids. Right. So and look at me. I'm not I'm strong, but when I'm working out, and then I'm giving so in a day like that, I'm sorry, I did have a protein shake then because I had such little protein to where I was all right, I don't want my muscles to shrink. Right. So I had a protein shake after that. But I mean, for people who are afraid to lose muscle, you really don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. You don't,
No.
I used to think that way too,
Yeah.
But you're not feeding your muscle, you're feeding your fat.
Yeah.
It's almost like a trick that society has played on us, you have to eat so many times a day and this and that. No, you really don't. If you're looking to be a bodybuilder, maybe, but I'm not looking to be a bodybuilder. I'm just looking to be in shape and fit,
Yeah. Well, I think that's really been, if you look at the research, it's not true. It's just something that's been kind of put out there over and over. But the research doesn't show that you really lose significant muscle at all with fasting. In fact, because of the way it affects the hormones, it could actually help you preserve and even build more with fasting.
Absolutely.
So you're also, of course, into fitness. You even have a Facebook fitness group. And I know we could talk about that alone for hours and hours. But if you had one thing, Tom, one bit of advice just to give to people regarding fitness, what would that be?
Stay consistent. Stay consistent. Everybody starts something and then they stop. And, it's never too late to start. But how many times have we started and then we stopped and then we're back at square one? Just do it. Don't think about results. Just do it. Make it a part of your life. If you're going to start lifting, just make that a part of your life. Make that a staple in your life. If you're going to start training jiu-jitsu, make it a staple in your life. If you want to fast, make it a staple in your life. You don't think about brushing your teeth. Imagine if our teeth didn't get whiter every day, we just get sick of it and we get tired of it and we stop brushing our teeth. That's not going to happen. We're brushing our teeth because that's what we're supposed to do. Because if we don't, our teeth will deteriorate and rot away. If you don't take care of your body will deteriorate and rot away. It's the same basic premise, but people don't look at it that way. And I don't know why, because it's so insane. Our body is our temple. The better you feel physically, the better you feel mentally. So just make it a staple in your life. You know, at 37 now, I'm in the best shape I've ever been by far physically, because now I'm not, it's funny because I'm not thinking about just jiu-jitsu competition. So I'm just exercising more the way I want to exercise, you know, focusing more on like beach muscles, right? Like doing curls every day. And it's consistency. You know, I made a post, I think it was in December. I said, I'm going to transform my body. And now here we are in May and January, February, March. It's been 5 months. It's been almost a half a year. And yeah, my body's transformed, but I've been going every day, 7 days a week. I'm doing something to transform it, you know? So that 5 months is long to some people. But now let's look at 5 months every day. It's really long to some people. But if I'm not doing that, what else am I going to be doing?
Right.
Just wasting away, you know, waiting for the right time. When is the right time? There's no right time.
It's true. It's like when people want to accomplish something, but they said that would take too long, you know, even if it's years. And you said, well, you're gonna age 4 years or 5 years anyway if you don't do it or you do it. So why not invest and do it, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I know your faith is also important to you, Tom. You even have a cool tattoo of praying hands. Can you tell us what your faith means to you and how that plays into your life?
I'm a very spiritual guy. You know, I don't necessarily. You got to be careful nowadays because, you know, you say you're spiritual, but then if you say you don't follow the Bible to a T, then you piss people off. And I don't follow the Bible to a T. You know, I'm a spiritual man. God made me. Man wrote the Bible. I'm not against it, but I think there's some things in there that are a little. They're taken too literal. You know. I know it. I understand it. I'm very versed with it. You know, I'm very educated on the Bible. You know, there's some things that I just don't necessarily agree with, but I believe in being a good person. I believe in Jesus. I believe whether you believe Jesus was the Son of God or not. You know, he was a badass dude. You know, he stood for what he believed in. He got brutally beaten and murdered, and he didn't sell out. He died on that cross. You know, he bled out in front of his own mother, and he died probably the worst way you could die. You know, and he took that. If people truly understand what they did to him, you know, like maybe they would respect him more. Mm. And, you know, people say, oh, people die in the name of Jesus. Yeah. Well, you know what? Jesus is not the one out there murdering people and killing people. It's these morons. It's these extremists that are taking things the same way we have Muslim extremists. We have Christian extremists. We do, and we have over the years. And, you know, we should never be dying in the name of God. That's not God's doing. You know, right. I'm not Muslim, but that's not Allah's doing. That's idiots doing, you know? And I think so many times it gets confused. There's just people who are not educated don't truly understand it, you know? And then they're like, oh, you know, science says this. Oh, okay, well, who created science? You know, who created all these things? I believe in a higher power. And I believe if you're a good person, that's all that matters, you know? But for me personally, you know, I'm a Jesus fan. I don't judge people if they're not, but I am a Jesus fan for sure. And faith has been in my life for as long as I can remember. And you know, there's a thin line between looking too deep and just accepting things the way they should be. You know, I think at one time in my life I sort of delved too deep into faith and try to understand more than I probably should. You know, and you got to be careful because some doors you knock on, the person who answers, you just have to be careful. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
There's a thin line, man. There's a thin line between good and evil, you know, and it gets skewed. It gets very skewed. You know, like these people who think that they're doing God's work and they're killing. Mm-hmm. You know, they think they're doing God's work. And
that's the dangerous part, right?
Exactly.
Well, I love how you referred to Jesus as a badass dude. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And he's the toughest.
I love it. Remember the shirt, the clothing line that a while back Jesus didn't tap?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So let's do another one of your posts. This one says, I'd be a liar if I said titles meant nothing. I spent so much of my life chasing them. However, I realized one thing. After every title, won, it still wasn't enough. My heart was empty. It wasn't until I started focusing more on serving others that I felt complete.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that for us.
I mean, I think the first half of my jiu-jitsu career, I just cared about winning things, and then the more, when I first started, I didn't, excuse me, sorry. I remember when I won my first Grappler's Quest. Some people don't even know what Grappler's Quest is nowadays, probably, but I thought that would be it. Man, I won Grappler's Quest. I thought that would like, I would be happy with that. I was a purple belt, and I won the expert division in Grappler's Quest.
Nice.
And it wasn't good enough, and then I'm like, oh, well, I need to win the Pan Am. I need to win the world. I need to win the nationals, and I need to win the trials. So the more I won, it just wasn't, I always wanted to do more, and there's one title that I wanted to win that I didn't win, and that was actually the ADCC finals. I won the trials 3 times. I competed in ADCC 3 times, but I didn't win, and if I won, it still wouldn't be enough, because then I would win and I would be like, all right, well, I want to win the absolute title. And then if I won the absolute title, I would say to myself, oh, well, I want to be the best one to ever do it. I want to win the absolute title, 4 times or 3 times. It's just, you're chasing something that can never be fulfilled. Now, I do believe it's important. I'm very thankful for the things that I've won. I am, absolutely, positively. It was a part of my dream, and I've accomplished that. I've done a lot of the things. No matter how I've won or how I've done it. And I'm thankful for that, and I can sit back and reflect on that now. But it's not long term. It's fleeting. Helping someone lasts. It stays with you forever. You get people who come back after years and years that you've helped, and they're thanking you, and that's something that's incredible. That's something that, this is my purpose. And I truly believe, though, if I didn't win some of the things I've won, maybe people wouldn't listen as much as they do. I don't know. I think that definitely competition has helped propel my name a little bit. But I think it's really my words that people follow me for. Mm-hmm. It's not so much anything to do with, what I've won or what I've lost. But yeah, I mean, helping people is truly, for me, I mean, what good is knowledge if we don't pass it on, and I believe that the key to life is really, the key to success is happiness, finding a way to be happy, and that's another thing. People say money doesn't buy happiness, but money buys peace of mind. When you're not having to worry about paying bills, when you don't have to worry about buying your kids what they need for school, that's peace of mind. For
Absolutely.
me, peace of mind is happiness. I hate stressing over money. That's the worst thing. So yeah, I understand when people say money doesn't buy happiness, and true happiness is from this and that. Yeah, everything's relative, I think. Everything has its place, but truly serving people and helping people, I believe, is our main, should be people's main motivation. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah, I agree. And you can go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Money might not be the solution to everything, but when you don't have to worry about where the next meal's coming and things like that, it takes pressure off. When you have enough money where you can be comfortable, then you can focus more on helping others and make an impact in others' lives. So certainly. And as far as the achieving all the medals and everything, at first it's incredibly admirable, having achieved so much as you have. But I understand that chasing that can become, somewhat of a rat race or an addiction itself, and that going for the external gratification constantly. And that's great. You want to have external things you're going for and working towards, it gives you purpose and everything, but or gives you motivation. But at the same time, the real impact, like you said, comes from serving others and making that impact that's going to last much longer in people's lives.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of making an impact, you have a post that says, I get hundreds of messages a week from discouraged jiu-jitsu students. I wish you could all see the ass kickings I used to take daily coming up through the ranks. After this, I want you to find a picture of your jiu-jitsu hero. Take a look at them and realize that they were once exactly where you are now. My friends, keep showing up. So I really love this. Any other advice for someone new to jiu-jitsu and wants to progress in the most efficient way? What should they do?
Just don't be so naive to think that it's gonna happen overnight. Like, man, like it's funny. You read the one post and I say I was a black belt for 9 years. I'm a
Yeah.
black belt now for 13 years, I think, somewhere
Right.
around then. 14 years actually.
Wow.
Yeah, man. It takes time, man. This is no easy thing. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And the irony is that if it was easy, people would quit. But the fact that it's hard, people quit. So it's like, you're looking for something challenging and you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, but stop comparing yourself to people because everybody else is also improving. Everybody's getting better around you. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
just show up, have fun, relax, chill, and everything's okay. Get out of your head a little bit. I find a lot of jiu-jitsu practitioners are maniacs, like they just get in their own head so much and they just start like deteriorating mentally, and it's just relax. It's just jujitsu, that's it.
It's just jujitsu.
That's it, man.
There you go. There you go. You recently shared a post that spoke about your ADHD as well as your Tourette's. And it was very interesting and very inspiring. Will you speak a little bit about that and how that affected your life as you were a child, trying to come up through school and that kind of thing?
Man, it was hard, man. It's hard for me to pay attention. Like I have severe ADHD and I have tics. I'm constantly twitching and stuff like that. Which that's not so much a problem. That just looks funny. But the ADHD is the big problem. Like it was just really hard, man, to pay attention. Like it would take me like 4 or 5 hours to do a simple math worksheet or a simple reading comprehension worksheet. Like I would read everything, and then by the time I was done reading it, I forgot what I read in the beginning of the article, and I just couldn't do it. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't do it, and it was so defeating, but it forced me to find other ways, to speak incredibly well and to win my teachers over through sympathy, and through talking, becoming incredibly smooth with my words. I had no choice. Otherwise I would fail, so it was never that I was not smart. I was incredibly smart, but it was just the ability to pay attention was very, very hard, and a lot of people suffer with it, but you know what? It is what it is. What are we going to do? What are we
Yeah.
going to do?
Well, what we could do is let it hold us back and never achieve anything, or we could go the route you went and overcome it and find ways to adapt and keep pressing on. Something new I just learned about you is that you studied special education in school. So I think that's very interesting. First of all, the post and hearing you talk about this is inspiring and motivational. And for anyone who's had issues such as learning disabilities or even mental health issues, other issues they struggle with or feel like it holds them back, I think posts like this that you shared and even right here on this podcast, hearing about it, I think it really gives people hope and inspiration to, no matter what they're struggling with, that they can overcome and adapt and move forward and accomplish great things.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. Like it's a grind for everybody, man. It's never easy, and people need to understand that. They look around and they think that their heroes had it easy. Man, shit, I'm waiting for the day it becomes easy. It just it never is. But
Yeah,
that's life, man.
it is life. It is life. So you're talking earlier about people tend to kind of love you or hate you, and we talked a little bit about being authentic, and you had a post on being a man, or what I call on being a man. It said, controlling your tone, your language, and your emotions are all part of becoming a real man. Age has nothing to do with it. If you get so emotional you scream, curse, and say regretful words, you aren't there yet. Men have control. Children scream and yell. So I really like that. I think we need more information out there now about what it means to be, quote, a man or a real man, because I think there's just so much craziness and confusion out there now. So we need anchors like that and posts like that to inspire us.
I think so too. And listen, that was the biggest struggle for me in life, not to lose my mind and lose my temper. I've been doing very good. It's been coming on a year now. I really haven't lost my temper, and something I'm happy about. It's not easy, man. People push you. It's like pouring water into a glass. Eventually that water overflows, but I think a big part of happiness and success and yes, becoming not just a man, an adult in general, is learning how to control those emotions, not allowing someone to get you so mad to where they ruin your day. Because if you're anything like me, like if I ever say anything regretful or hurtful, I regret it. I don't like to say hurtful things to people. I rather people say hurtful things to me. And if that makes them feel good, okay, whatever. Like if you're a dude, if you're a man and you you want to attack me and physically like do something, okay, let's do it. That's fine. But I would equate words as regretful as like, let's say you knock somebody out. They're already knocked out. You don't need to step on their face, right? So if I was in a physical altercation and I knock someone out unconscious and then I continue to step on their head, in the heat of the moment, I might feel justified, but I know the next day I would regret that. I wouldn't regret knocking them out. I would regret stepping on their face repeatedly. I would feel very bad. For me, hurling insults and words at people I don't like it. It's not something that makes me feel better. Not something that accomplishes anything. It's not something that makes me feel good, so don't do it, because I think at the end of the day, everyone just ends up hurt. The people around you that you speak to and yourself, I think that's what it comes down to.
So how do you keep from getting your buttons pushed?
Oh, they get pushed. Trust me. They get pushed, bro. I just don't speak when I'm angry.
Right.
I do my best to keep my mouth closed until I'm not as angry.
Okay.
And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But it takes practice. It's not something that happens like overnight. It's like when you consciously make an effort to do it, things become, just like it's not easy to eat healthy, but you have to do it. Like if you make a choice, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You just chose to become different, and that's it. Like make a choice and stick to your word, and that's what I've done. And I'm very thankful that I've been able to do so. But the thing is, you can't expect other people to follow the same path.
Right. There's this one quote that says something like, real freedom is, or true wisdom, one or the other, is the ability to, between the stimulus and response, to be able to pause and choose your response. So that's what that reminds me of.
Yeah, and I think that's very true. I think that's the truth, man. That's honest. Like being able to take your time with the response and articulate it. Like if you want to get your point across, you're not going to get it across. And if somebody's not listening to you, okay, then just remove yourself from the conversation and say to them simply, okay, when you're ready to talk, when you're ready to discuss things and hear my point, then we could talk. If you're not ready to discuss things, if you're not ready to talk, then I don't have anything to say to you. And that's it. I've walked out in a lot of conversations over the last few months, and that's it. I don't care. I'm not gonna argue.
It's not worth it, right?
No, because it just pisses me off.
Sure.
Because I'm level head. Like I understand when I'm wrong, and I admit when I'm wrong. But nothing drives me crazier when someone else is wrong and they just refuse to admit
it. They just can't see it, or they just won't admit it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As I get older, man, peace of mind is so much more important than being right or whatever, winning an argument or whatnot. So, listen, we're as we try to bring this up to a close, let me ask you, who's had the biggest impact on your life on and off the mat? And is there anybody you'd like to shout out to?
Well, for sure. Like I said, I'm a Jesus fan, so I'm forever in debt to him. My parents, absolutely, and my kids, and my teacher that I came up under, Ricardo Almeida. he had a huge influence on me. And I'm thankful for everybody, man. The love and the hate, it fuels me, and nothing is ever going to break me. I'm just going to get up and do what I'm supposed to do every day. And that's it. There's nothing that's going to stop me until I physically can't do it anymore. And
Right
then even
on.
when I physically can't do it, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to mentally do it for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, one more quote I want to share before we close. This one says, "Remember one thing, your life is decided by choices. Regardless of the circumstances you were born into, everything is eventually determined by you. Your success or your lack thereof is totally determined by the choices you make throughout your life. Also, youngins, remember it's never too early to start your journey into greatness. Your sacrifice at a young age becomes habitual as you grow older. And we all know it takes sacrifice in order to achieve greatness. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and create your own fate." So, a really good thing to end on. I love those words. Tom, you inspire so many people with your words and your actions and your example. So, really appreciate you and everything you've done for Jiu-Jitsu and people in general. And I wish you long, healthy, and happy life, my friend.
Appreciate it, man. And that last quote, you sent that to me? That was a good one. I forget when I even wrote that. Resend that.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Be well, sir.
Have a great day.
You too. All right. Really enjoyed speaking with Tom. What an absolute fascinating person he is. So great to have had that chance to have a conversation with him. Okay, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Breathing for BJJ program, I urge you to check it out today. It's an absolutely wonderful program. If I do say so myself, it is my program, and I've really put my heart and soul into this program, taking the last 2 years to develop it, and I believe in it 100%. And if you're new to jiu-jitsu, you know how easy it is to find yourself in a challenging position and start panicking, and first thing that suffers is your breathing. If you're a practitioner that's getting older, well into your years, maybe you've noticed yourself slowing down and the lungs just aren't what they used to be. And if you're somewhere in the middle, maybe you're an experienced, somewhat still young person, but you feel like something's missing in your experience in jiu-jitsu. You've learned a ton of techniques, but you're not having as much fun or enjoyment as you used to. Well, this program takes care of all of that because it enables you to develop your functional capacity to breathe, using a biomechanical approach to strengthen your actual breathing muscles and giving you much more ability to breathe. It teaches you how to regulate your breathing on the mat, which changes everything, and also helps you develop your capacity to breathe within very suffocating and challenging positions. So it's a great program. So check it out at www.breathingforbjj.com. Okay, up next is the Make a Difference, Make an Impact segment. Time now for the Make a Difference, Make an Impact segment, featuring an audio clip from a Jago video entitled Time is Running Out. Enjoy.
I hear that I'm over 40, I'm pushing 50, whatever. Bring it. Back off, negative. Not happening. In fact, I'm stepping it up. I'm training harder, eating cleaner. I'm training more. I'm learning and reading and studying more now than I ever have in my whole life. Do I get dinged up? Of course I do. You know what? No factor. No factor. Deal with them. You know what? You know what I hear? I hear the clock ticking. That's what I hear. And the end is nigh, and time waits for no man. And you young guns out there, 18 years old, 20 years old, 24 years old. Listen, life goes by, and it goes by quick. Don't waste those years. Don't waste them. Live them. I know that you don't think you're gonna live to be 30, much less 40, but you are and you will. And the earlier you get in the game, the better life you're gonna have. Healthier, wealthier, stronger, smarter, better. Better. And if you're an old man like me, and you haven't gotten on track yet, get on track. Get on it now. Here's the deal. No complacency. No complacency. No backing off. No slack whatsoever. Fight. Fight that ticking clock with everything you got. So, at the end of a hard day, put your head down with ease. Satisfied.
And that's going to do it for this edition of the show. As always, I thank you for listening. Hope you're enjoying the show. If you feel like you're benefiting from the show and want to show your support, you can support us on our Patreon page, and a link in the show notes. Please like and follow us on social media and help us spread the word by reposting our posts and telling others about the show. You can leave comments on the website at www.GracieJujitsuRocks.com. You can also go to iTunes and leave comments, as well as rate the show, and we would appreciate a 5-star rating, which helps us with our standing in iTunes. You can also leave comments on our YouTube channel. If you have suggestions for the show, please don't hesitate to give those. We always like feedback and suggestions. Okay, that's going to do it. So until next time, this is Marty Josie, and I'll see you on the mat.